Hey everyone, it's Friday and we are here at Litvak Leadership Live with my special guest, Darrell Amy. Darrell, what's going on?
Wow, it's Friday afternoon. How did that get here so fast?
It has been just an incredibly busy week, but let me do some
Fun.
housekeeping stuff real quick. Hey, if you enjoy or even don't enjoy, I just want the likes either way. Litvak Leadership, because you're here, you must be enjoying it. Go on to YouTube, go on to Facebook, hit like for Litvak Leadership. Our website's going to be up soon enough. I know I keep saying that. Need to find a web designer. I know what I want. I've got the outline. Now I just need a who, not a how. So without any further ado, let me talk to Darrell Amy from Revenue Growth Engine in all kinds of places. Darrell, what is going on in the world in your opinion? We seem to be in this, are we in a pandemic? Are we not in a pandemic? What does this have to do with business? How's it affecting all of us? What say you?
Wow, just put the easy question right at the beginning, why don't you?
I figure we'll start with that.
Well, I'll answer it this way because this is so top of mind right now, whether you're in sales, whether you're marketing, whether you're running a company. The reality right now is the number one commodity that we all need to move business forward is trust. Mm-hmm. The challenge is, trust in the middle of all of this chaos is hard to come by, right? It was interesting. I mean, Edelman does a trust barometer. I want to say I like reading it. I actually don't like reading it because two things I've noticed, I've been following it over the last 5 or 6 years. Trust continues to go down. We live in a post-trust society. Actually, 2018, the word of the year was post-trust. That means after trust. So this is a real challenge because right now, in order to move deals forward, in order to move our business forward, if you're in sales, you need the client to trust you. If you're in marketing, you need the clients and prospects to trust your company. And so this is a challenge right now. It's always been a challenge, but it feels, I don't know about you, but it feels like trust is harder and harder to come by, especially for sales professionals, which were second from the bottom on Edelman's trust survey. Politicians at the bottom.
Who's at the bottom?
Hey, politicians and marketing and advertising is just like right above sales. We're like competing down there. And I was talking to Jack Hubbard, the amazing Jack Hubbard yesterday in the banking industry. And he was laughing, going, bankers are down there too. I mean, this trust thing is a real problem. And so this is what's on my mind right now is how do we boost trust? How do we be seen as trustworthy?
Well, and before that even, let's define what is trust.
I think trust is best. I mean, you could put a definition behind it, but I think it's actually more realized in terms of the speed and ease of business. You've got it when business is smooth and fast, and you don't have it when it feels like you're walking through the mud. Stephen M.R. Covey wrote the legendary book, Business at the Speed of Trust. Okay. So trust is speed. He said, if you've got trust, things happen. If you don't have trust, then it's like, we got to think about it. There's lawyers involved. There's just this like slow and brutal stuff gets stuck in the pipeline. So rather, a definition of trust, we probably look it up, be a good idea. But I think to me, it's more of the, you got it when business is moving smoothly. It's a red flag when business is maybe not moving smoothly, when stuff's stuck in the mud and your pipeline is, just clogged. I think that's a flag. You got a trust problem.
Well, and I'm in an industry where what we do is very much defined by a scope of work. And what we have struggled with in our industry, and it's the janitorial industry, is that do people want tasks or do they want outcomes? Right. Because if you want outcomes, then the tasks are a guideline, but some may occur more and some may occur less. But if you want to base things specifically on tasks, then you end up with check sheets and platforms and dashboards and all this tracking where you still may not get what you really want. I mean, how do we get back to the point in business where, to me, trust is when there's more civility, and lack of trust is when you're forever creating reports to justify what you're billing for? What do you think of that?
I think that's a really, really good example, because when there's not trust, then there's all of a sudden checklists, and there's SLAs, service level agreements, and there's there's purchasing with these long contracts, and all of that, and so this the trust, I think, comes down to two things, and we can unpack this. We're actually going to be unpacking all of this because Larry Levine's an alumni of Litvak Leadership. By the way, he
Yes.
says hi. He pinged into my Slack here a minute ago and said, say hi. It's going to be good. Larry and I were talking about this last month, and we said, you know what? This is a problem, and trust is a problem. And if anyone thinks we got this totally figured out, I don't think anyone does yet. So we actually sat down and we said, who would we like to coach us on how to build more trust? And so we invited a bunch of friends. You can actually see it over my shoulder here. It's the 2021 Trust Building Challenge. It's right there on the screen, 2021trustchallenge.com. And we're going to spend an entire week, an hour a day, and we're going to unpack what we can do. Beautiful. We've got Simon Hares. Simon's just pure gold, dynamite. You need to follow him on LinkedIn. Larry and I were talking with Simon, and he just started unpacking about 15 minutes of his theory and on trust. I was like, that's golden. You need to share that with all of us. Marcus Ogden is a former NFL player who learned trust on the gridiron, but he now coaches high performance executives and sales professionals. That's going to be dynamite. Don Barden, you got to get to know Don Barden. I'm a new fanboy of Don Barden.
Yeah, and he's an economist, I saw.
Yeah, well, more than that though. Don has been a top 1% elite sales rep. He coaches the elite leaders in the military, and on top of that, he's just pure dynamite gold. He's got a book. If you ever get a chance to talk to Don, amazing guy. He's got a book called The Perfect Plan, which, when you see the title, The Perfect Plan, I don't know about you, but I'm a little skeptical. But I had dinner with Don and got to hear his heart. And then I started reading The Perfect Plan. I go, this actually might be the perfect plan. He's going to share it with us during the challenge. Dr. Maria Church. Oh, wow. Love-based leadership. She is a gem. You're going to really enjoy getting to know Dr. Maria Church. She coaches high performance executives and teams. And if you think about a profession in addition to sales and marketing that needs trust, is leadership. And so we love Dr. Maria, and it's going to be fantastic. And last but not least, my coach, Dave Sanderson. You may have met Dave during the Authentic Selling Challenge we did earlier this year. Dave's phenomenal. Last guy off the plane that landed in the Hudson River. Sully's amazing story. Dave was the last guy off that plane, helping people get off the plane. Most people, you may or may not know, he was one of the top reps at Oracle. So deep sales experience. And another cool thing about Dave, he spent over a decade as the head of security for Tony Robbins. So we got to just all of this. Super cool guy. And someone that I'm really, really looking forward to coaching us. So this is going to be pure dynamite. It's actually absolutely free because we got sponsors like Bomb and Outbound Conference has stepped up to help us with.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
It's going to be great. And all of this though is around driving this conversation of what can we do to increase trust so we don't get slammed with checklists and long contracts and brutal SLAs. It's not that those things, don't have their place, but the real question is, how do we establish and develop and grow and maintain, nurture trust inside our client base and in the market in general? And when we do that, yeah, I mean, it's high leverage. Good things
Well,
happen when you have trust.
and I'll tell you, it's interesting because I'm on both sides of it, out there talking to people, wanting them to trust me, explaining to them what our checks and balances and accountabilities are, and at the same time, I've been looking for and have spoken to multiple people about, for myself, hiring a personal coach
Mm-hmm.
for the different achievements or goals that I have set up for myself. And the greatest challenge that I've run into is, here we go, Wes Wyatt in the house. Yeah,
Yeah, come on.
Wes is the dynamite guy. But the greatest challenge that I've run into is when I'll talk to a lot of these coaches, and I'm curious what your answer is. And I say, well, explain to me what we're going to do. All of a sudden, the smoke and mirrors come out, and they don't necessarily have a curriculum or a plan or an outline that they're willing to share with me, even in a general basis, as to what they're going to do to take me from point A to point B. Am I and therefore the trust goes from here to here very
Well,
quickly.
so I think you bring up a really good thing. When you look at trust, and so Larry and I have been talking about the trust formula, and I'm giving you a sneak peek at some of what we're going to unpack at
Okay.
this event right here on Litvak Leadership Live. Here's your sneak peek. But really, if you think about it, it actually makes sense. So we say relational authenticity. So there's a relational component, right? Plus, and this is the plus that you're looking for, I believe, plus meaningful value times. And if you're a math person, you probably want to put a bracket around the two. Relational authenticity plus meaningful value. The multiplier is consistent habits. So you're nurturing a relationship, you're bringing meaningful value to the table, and you're showing up consistently. You're doing what you say you're going to do. You're paying attention to the details and all of that. Now, so think about that in the context of what you just said. Relational authenticity, you probably wouldn't be on the phone with those prospective coaches if you didn't like them, trust them, something like that. I mean, you got that far, right? But then you got to the step of meaningful value and they weren't able to articulate that to you. So what happened to trust?
Right.
And so, and then, I don't know about follow up and consistent action and all of that showing up. But this, as we're thinking about this, these are the three ingredients. And so I think a lot of times when we talk on Selling from the Heart podcast is all about being authentic, right? Integrating authenticity into our sales conversations, into our leadership, into our marketing. The thing about it is authenticity is a two-sided coin. I would say you got to have authentic relationship, but you also have to have authentic value.
Right.
So you got to get both of those right. The flip side is you might have a coach that comes with an incredible outline. Here's what we're going to do. It's going to be this, 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 and this. And you go, man, this is incredible, but there's no relational chemistry. You get the sense they're fake or they're all about themselves and all that. You're not going to say yes to that person either. You got to get both of those right at the same time and multiply it by consistent habits.
And I'll tell you who's really good at that. And I don't want to mess up her name, but her, and her company, Kim Thompson Pinder.
Oh, hands down, absolutely, right?
And is her company RTI or RTJ Publishing?
Well, even better, her book. I love the title of her book. It's RTI Publishing, but her book's called Author to Authority, right? And this is this book. If there's a word that would be a good synonym to put beside trust, it's authority, right?
Mm-hmm.
So especially under that meaningful value. And so if you want to go from, maybe sales rep to trusted advisor, right?
Yes, which is what every salesperson wants.
Yes. So how do you make that bridge? Because sales rep, remember Edelman Trust Survey, down there with politicians competing for the bottom, right? Kind of, I won't make any Cowboys jokes. It's tough being a Cowboys fan right now, but
No
if
worse than being a Cubs fan right now. Let me tell you.
true, very true. No worse than being a Cubs
No
fan.
worse.
But seriously though, if you want to move from being that sales rep to being a trusted advisor, start looking at those agreements. How can I nurture authentic relationship, deliver meaningful value, and be consistent in my habits with that person? Start doing those three. And Kim's a great example of that. And
Huge
Kim,
example of that.
yeah, we love you, Kim. You're amazing. And because of that, I mean, you met Kim because of me, because I
Right.
trust Kim. Anytime when you asked for a referral for a problem that you had and a project you want to get done, say know exactly who you need to call, because there's trust. And when here's what's beautiful: when you picked up the phone to call Kim, did you, on a scale of 1 to 10, before even meeting her, how much would you say you trusted her?
Oh, just so I didn't actually pick
Based
up
on
the
my
phone to call
referral.
her. Right. I mean, you and Larry both recommended her to me,
Hmm.
which immediately brought her up here.
That's my
And then
point.
when I emailed her, she responded quickly.
Even
She was
better.
she was on time for our video chat. She spent a full hour with me as she
Hmm.
had, set it up for. And she asked what I wanted out of the meeting, but she had her own agenda of things to talk through with me. And then when we set up a program, and for those who don't know what Kim Thompson Pinder does, is she has an editorial and publishing company.
Hmm.
She's worked with you on revenue growth engine, right,
Hmm.
Darrell?
Yep.
And
Absolute
she's
tremendous
working
help.
with me on my forthcoming book, Proverbs for Leadership.
Nice.
And she had a whole um, explanation of what she wanted from me to evaluate the book. And then when we met, she had all this information for me, giving me feedback. And then when she actually gave me her proposal, it was formatted easily. It was very clear. Um,
Hmm.
there were no spelling mistakes, which is
Well, that's
important when
helpful
you're
if you're a book
hiring an
editor,
editor.
right? Yes, there
Um,
is stuff. That's
and
helpful.
for every question I had, because it's an investment, she answered them within a reasonable amount of time, and even said, "Hey, if we need to hop on a chat to talk about it, I'm open to
Hmm.
that." So to me, she hit all three of those in a way that I haven't seen any coach do it yet. So she's coaching me on my book essentially. Now I
Yeah.
need someone to coach me overall. So Kim, when you see this at some point, maybe I'll send you the link. There's your few minutes of great advertising, because Darrell and I are both so impressed with you.
But
So
let's unpack that once again. Just look at the formula, right? And this is so powerful because Kim established a relationship of trust with me. And
mhm,
I'll be fully transparent. I've worked with other editors. I referred Kim, not another editor. There was a relationship of trust there, because I'm not going to refer somebody unless I can feel confident they're going to make me look good. Right
sure,
now, it looks like Kim's making me look pretty good, because you're really, really happy and on board
I'm
with that.
very happy.
So, as sales professionals, I mean, ask any sales professional, do you want a lead off the website, something you found on a cold call, or a referral? Yeah, 100 times out of 100 they will say referrals,
Right.
because a referral comes with built-in trust. So
Yes.
you told me you were 8 out of 10, I believe, with Kim before you even spoke to her, because someone that you also mutually trust recommended her. And
Yep.
and this is the power of earning, nurturing, growing, sustaining trust for business salespeople, business leaders. This is it is accelerates business. Wes, it's like dynamite for your business. And I'm pandering now to Wes. We're glad you're here, and this is why we're so passionate about this. Is I think it's the X factor. It's the missing link. It's the goal of sales and marketing, to be always asking the question, what can we do to build and nurture and grow, sustain trust with our prospects and clients. When you do, it allows you to accelerate your growth and your results.
And it just seems like trust in business is um, has taken a hit. But let's take it a step further. What about trust in faith organizations, or trust between friends, or trust in associations? I think, or trust, among the of our political leaders. I mean, we have a trust pandemic, for lack of a better word, a trust issue all the way around. Will the trust building challenge, and this isn't a commercial for it, although it just works out well.
Kind of
Here, I'll
seems like it.
throw it back up there again. Is it going to discuss more than trust in business? Will it be about trust among peers? I mean, I'll tell you, I've been involved in some organizations, not my current organization. Let me be very clear. Where some of my coworkers I didn't necessarily trust, and sadly, I don't think they trusted me. And that's a recipe for lack of congruence on how things are accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're heavily biased towards sales. We're sales junkies and fans, but in reality, whether you like it or not, everybody's in sales.
Everybody's in sales.
Everybody's
Yes.
in sales. So, and that tip of the hat to conversation I had earlier this week, someone who was an operations person and did not like the S word. And so I said, well, can I just say business development? She's like, that's better. Say that. That's how much salespeople are mistrusted. The reality is, here, look, all of us have passion. All of us have vision. All of us have things that we believe in. And sales is a transfer of energy and belief. And so, this requires trust, though. And so I think anyone would benefit from the trust building challenge. And when you talk about all the different sectors of society beyond business into the faith sector, the nonprofit sector, the political sector. If you
Yes.
think about the formula of trust there's relational authenticity plus meaningful value. And it's got to be consistent, bracket consistent action. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of math for a Friday afternoon, Sean.
Yeah, a lot of math for sales on a Friday afternoon.
but if you think about that template, it can apply to your marriage, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this has got to be, so I don't want to pretend to be Dr. Phil here and go too far beyond my scope of expertise. But trust in business is really, really critical. And it's been a challenge. You asked earlier how all this is playing out during the pandemic and the shuffle and all of that. It was really interesting. Larry and I just finished our interview with Ethan Butte and Steve Passanelli. They're the authors of Rehumanize Business. And
oh, wow.
Humanizing Communication is their new book. It's superb. We got, and this is human-centered communication. This is so critical right now. Is what we've got to do. I mean, we were used to the face-to-face, right? We were used to being there with people, and this is a challenge because a lot of that interpersonal relationship or reading. I'm not a psychologist, but I know enough about it to go, we're reading cues, like micro, stuff is going on that we can do very easily face to face.
Yes.
It's harder to do over video. It is, right? Now,
well, you
by the
lose
way,
body language, I think. I mean, you still got the face to face, but I mean, most communication is nonverbal.
Yeah. And so this is, I think this is, when it comes to trust, this is really, really critical right now. We establish trust based on that nonverbal gut feel type of thing. So we've got to, in many cases, I'm glad when we can get face to face. I think it's valuable, but I think as sales professionals and leaders, we have got to up our game in terms of being able to communicate effectively.
Yes.
As Ethan and Steve would say, human-centered communication. And I love their message. And I haven't gotten to read the book yet, but I got to spend an hour with them talking about the topics in the book. You can pre-order it right now, by the way, human-centered communication. But they were talking about the fact that you can, let's say we're communicating over this medium of video. You can look great on video, be professional, animated, and all of that. If you don't have anything to say and you're a horrible communicator, it's a bomb, right? Or you can have something very valuable to say, but if you can't communicate over video, and you haven't thought through how you're going to do that, just as if I'm face to face with you, I'm probably going to shine my shoes, brush my teeth, and all of that.
Yeah.
Video, the shining the shoes is decent light, good camera, good mannerisms, not sitting on your hands, right? You got to pull your hands up by your face and all that stuff. We've learned that from some of our coaches that, you don't trust people who sit on their hands. So in video, you got to be,
you got to be a little bit more animate. You've got to, what is it? The old saying, I can't help it that I talk with my hands.
That's
Italian.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people talk with their hands down here, right? And so we're getting better at doing that. But all of this is just saying, in this environment, and we're not, we will be using video more and more and more, whether it's on a web meeting or whether it's, face to face with a bomb video or whatever. And this is so this is where we are right now in terms of making sure that we're upskilling ourselves and working on the gaps. If you're a golfer, and I'd love to be a golfer, I'm terrible at it, but I won't digress. But if you're a golfer and let's say there's a part of your game you can't hit a wedge shot to save your life, right? What do you need to do? You need to work on your short game, and you'll go to the driving range and you'll hit a bunch of balls up onto the green with your wedge and you'll get better at it. I think for a lot of salespeople, if you want to use that parallel, the hole in their game is related to a lot of this communication. And, when the pandemic started, we were all trying to, we were all trying to figure that out. A lot of people were trying to figure out how to do it. But now there's no excuse not to be good on video if you're in sales. And so we got to up our game.
What gets me is, and people tell me I'm just wired different. I mean, I had a meeting today, and there were 3 of us, and I was the only one on video. The other 2, just one dialed in, another one went to the platform.
They went dark.
We were using, but had their initials up there because I guess they didn't want to be on video. And I just don't get that when you can do it on your phone, you can do it with a laptop. I've got a little camera here on top of my monitor because, Litvak Leadership Live is every single week, and your guest number 152.
Wow.
So, you've got to be ready for it. And it's not like my production value is huge in whether it's here or whether it's in a regular meeting, but it's there and the effort is there. Why do you think some people are still just not wanting to participate in video and going, nope, it's just another version of the phone?
I don't know. Quite frankly, I'm with you. You get on a Zoom meeting and someone's, ghosting the Zoom meeting and everyone else is there chattering away and they got their initials.
Or just their phone number. Just their phone number. So we're not even sure who it is.
I'm sure there's time. Actually, it was so fun. We had the Selling from the Heart Insiders group. It's a group of authentic sales professionals that get together every Friday at lunch. And so I was laughing. One of our group members was actually on the walking down the beach with her cell phone while she was in the group, which I thought was so cool, right? You're walking down the beach. And she said hi and then blacked out, for to turn the camera off for the rest of it. But, that I think there is a great example right there of not just a missed opportunity to build trust, but I think something that actually dings your trust. It knocks it down. Like, why aren't they there? Why are they not, showing their face? And so this is, this is the world we live in right now. My mom, my in-laws, everybody's on Zoom. So, this is your opportunity to interact. It would almost be like going to the old networking event where they used to serve the rubber chicken, cold appetizers and warm beer, and going to meet somebody and then looking off to the side the whole time while you're talking to them, right? You never do that. But this is a mindset shift, or more just the evolution of this, and saying, okay, we got to get really good. And so there's an investment, right? And when I became a sales professional 27 years ago, I went and I bought a suit. Well, I actually bought a few, and I bought some nice shirts and some ties and some good shoes. And I went every week and took my shirts to the cleaners and all of that, because I needed to make that investment of, I don't know, probably several $1,000s by the time you added it all up, so that I could present my best self.
Absolutely.
So what's the digital correlation? Well, make an investment, buy a good camera, get a good microphone, make sure your lighting's good and your background looks professional. Those are, these are like, if I'm trying to get on Litvak Leadership Live and I've got a blurry camera, and it's like the old laptop thing where you're looking up someone's nose the entire time. And it's all pixelated. It's like, this is the investment you need to make. Not in equipment, just as I bought the suit and the dress shoes and all that back in the day. It was hardcore, man. It was hardcore. We had casual Friday, and we were allowed to wear a blue shirt and tie instead of a white shirt and tie. It was hardcore back then. But yeah, so it's one of those things. I think you've got to make that investment in gear and all of that. If you haven't done that, come on. Get out there. $200 or $300 gets you world-class stuff.
Well, and here's the thing: it's not just people who used to wear suits. I mean, if you're in a role where you work with your hands, okay, and you've got to buy tools. Yeah, it's the same thing as buying tools. Or my wife, who is an oil painting artist, she has brushes. She has I'm blanking on the word. She has easels. She has mirrors or glass that she puts her paint on. She gets this special stuff to put in the paint so it doesn't dry as fast, so she can work with it longer. I mean, those are the tools of her trade, and I just don't understand why people in business don't, or even when an organization is giving people who are working at home a stipend, why don't they get at least a ring light? And, get a ring light and a different camera other than the one on your laptop.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Oh, my company won't let me expense that. Well, they didn't let me expense my suit and dress shoes either. Go, go invest in yourself, because this is really critical. And these are you go to trust, right? Get down to that third part of the trust formula: consistent habits, showing up consistently. I knew 27 years ago that if I walked into an appointment with dirty shoes that were scuffed up, Tom Hopkins told us to polish your shoes, because it'll hurt your trust. You may be super smart and the nicest person in the world, but you walk in, looking frumpy, is that a word? And you hurt your trust. Well, let's take the digital parallel as well, right? You show up to digital, and I'll tell you what, I'm dressed business casual on Friday, but I have, and this is actually just in the last few weeks, I've decided that I'm showing up I'm saying it here on Litvak Live. I'm ditching the polo shirt. And I'm going to show up. And I've showed up to the podcast in the last few days. No disrespect for you. We were in the Selling from the Heart Insiders group earlier today, but I showed up suited out with a jacket and part of that was I was watching someone that I deeply respect, Jack Hubbard. I think I mentioned him earlier, just a
Yeah.
legend.
Well, and
Trained.
you were on his show earlier this
I
week.
was, and I watched Jack. Jack's a legend. He's one of the classiest people I know. And Jack's working from his home office, and Jack has a jacket on.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, well, am I going to make that investment in myself to present myself, in the most professional way possible? And you go, Darrell, you're working your home office. You're going to put a jacket on, maybe,
And
right?
you know what? It's funny. I had a huge presentation last Tuesday, and wearing a dress shirt because normally Monday through Thursday I get my dress shirts back from the cleaner. So I had a
Nice.
dress shirt on. Still do that. Got my magnetic collar stays
Ooh,
holding
very
everything in
nice.
place because it's
Very nice.
no buttons, and I'm standing like this. And before I could start presenting, and this was a huge presentation, there were 20 people from the company were presenting to. I had four of my colleagues with me. The main contact that I'd been, working with, she says, Sean, I got a question. I said, sure, what? She goes, are you standing up? And I said, why, yes, I am. She goes, you have a stand-up desk. Yes. She goes, oh, she's like, you have a stand-up desk. I said, yes, during the pandemic, I invested in my home office to have a convertible desk that will go up and then go back down because, it's something that you get tired of sitting.
That's right.
You got to be able to stand up. And I think that may have been one of the more interesting parts or something. I think that right in the beginning made an impression on them of how we do things. What say you? Do you think it makes a difference? Do I look like I'm standing up?
Oh, absolutely. And I deliver when I'm doing training, I'll deliver it standing up. Once again, it's Friday afternoon. I'm wearing my polo shirt and sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I'm really feeling bad. But
Yeah, it's
it's
98 degrees here in Louisville. Got even though we have air conditioning, we run fans, we run
it's amazing.
dehumidifiers in
Hey,
our house. It's
I
just
get it.
hot out.
I'm a Canadian kid that married a Southern girl, and it's over 100 here. It's insane. But
Yeah,
it's interesting. I think it's worthy of the investment,
yeah,
especially if you're working out of your home office. This is, you're inviting people into this office. One of the things that I learned, I'm a little bit, can I say ADD? I mean, it's like,
yeah.
you know, squirrels. So if I really struggle sometimes when I'm in front of my computer, if there's other stuff open. So the first thing I need to do is shut everything down. But the second thing, because I would never check my computer if I was in front of you in your office,
Right.
not in a million years. So I got to shut everything down. The other thing, this is just a hack for me. I found that if I'm in a meeting with somebody, especially where I want to be very present, I actually behind me, I bought a conference table. So I have in my office. No, seriously, it's a conference table right back
Yeah,
here. I got a chair right over there, and you can see I got a big screen, and I
yeah.
made an investment, and there's actually a camera right there. So most of my meetings, if you meet with me, I'm actually not sitting here at my computer. I am actually sitting across from a conference table. And I'm telling you, for me, it's I don't know, there's something mentally that shifts when I'm sitting across a conference table from you with a notepad in front of me. And so I do that in my home office. You go, Darrell, that cost money. Of course it did.
Of
But
course
that's
it
the
does.
investment, right? That's the investment. It didn't cost that much money. It's not that fancy of a conference table, but it was good enough. And it's to me, this is, and I work from home offices and airports. So my home office is a place where I spend a lot of time. So I've intentionally invested in it to make sure that I'm able to be present and show
Yes.
up. And I think one thing that we've learned from the pandemic is we're all going to work at home sometimes. So, I don't know what your situation, if you're listening in, is like, but I recommend you make an investment in setting up a place where you can be your best. And and that all of this goes back to trust, right? And how can I invite people into my world in a way that establishes and supports trust rather than the opposite.
So on that, we've gone 41 minutes. So
Wow, that went
I
fast.
want you, yeah, it's always easy with you. Super simple to talk to
We have
you.
so much fun. We have so much
That's
fun.
why I like having you on, because this is your second time, and frankly, here I'll give everyone a sneak peek. Uh, the week of Labor Day, we will be celebrating our 1 year anniversary as
All
Litvak
right.
Leadership Live. We began with as a 5 day a week show. In April, we went to a once weekly show because we all got busy again. That week, I will have my last single individual guest. But then after that, I'm going to be doing panel shows where I've booked my first panel. And I'm going to be reaching out, Darrell, to you and Larry, because I'd like to have both of you on at the same time at some point and talk about what you guys talk about normally on video, though, for my audience. Do you think you and Larry would be up for that?
We would love to. That'd be a blast.
Awesome. So, in the last couple minutes we have, what I want you to talk about is one of the topics that I'm sure is going to happen during the 2021 Trust Challenge. Talk about why people should be signing up so they can develop themselves to meet their potential.
Well, that's exactly why you want to sign up, is you want to develop your ability to grow and sustain trust. And you go, well, I'm trustworthy. I'm sure you are. But we got to be able to communicate that effectively. So we're gonna unpack this trust formula: authentic relationships, meaningful value, consistent habits. And we've brought to the table to do that some great people to coach us. You'll see them when you go to 2021trustchallenge.com. But this is not a, sit back, eat your lunch and consume a video and don't do anything. This is a challenge. So every day after we're done with the session from 12 to 1 Eastern, 9 to 10 Pacific, we're going to challenge each other to take action. And when you join the challenge, what's going to be really cool is in between the sessions and those 23 hours in between, you're going to be invited to be a part of a private LinkedIn community of like-hearted sales professionals that are going to push each other. We're going to push each other to take action, and there'll be, it's the community and camaraderie in there. That in itself to me is like the ball game, because when you can get around other people that are saying, yeah, I want to take my game to the next level in this area, that's where you really good things start to happen and new friendships start to form. So 2021trustchallenge.com. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be high energy, but most importantly, it's going to be I believe, an extremely great investment of your time, especially when you look at the caliber of coaches we're bringing to the table. I mean, to get on any one of these people's calendars would be an incredible privilege. And so for them to generously come to this, and they've all said, we want to be a part of this. We want to help. Like, they're great, generous folks to be able to do this and step up. This is world-class stuff. This isn't, this isn't your, these are rock stars that are coming to really help us.
Absolutely.
And I say rock star, I mean, genuine, awesome faculty here. So 2021trustchallenge.com. We'd love for you to join us. It's actually absolutely free, thanks to our generous sponsors. So I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. We're going to have a blast.
Absolutely.
And what a fun time.
It's going to be great. So, Darrell, thank you so much for being on the show. It's always fun to have you here, and I'm excited for the future to have you and Larry on and doing sales from the heart on Litvak Leadership Live. Everyone else, that's the show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. But hey, give a like to Litvak Leadership on both Facebook and YouTube. Website coming out soon. I'm going to throw up my social media locations here. Check them out. And have a blessed weekend.